He is a dog behavior specialist. He helps owners get to the root of their pets' problems. Please welcome Brett Endies. Hello, Brett. Got Fred. I know I make mistakes when it comes to disciplining him because I get angry and go, I will destroy you. And then he wags his tail at me like he's all happy. But what do we do as common mistakes when we discipline our pets?
You know, the number one mistake I find owners are making with their dogs is they're not relating to them on the dog's terms. You know, we're kind of coming from this human point of view when we're interacting with and training our dogs. And if we can shift our thinking and see it from their perspective, right away it makes such a difference in their behaviors for the better.
Well, somebody in our family who's having difficulties with this right now is Orly. Orly brought along her dog, Callie, today. He's come Orly, you got a problem you need some solving with, yes.
Yeah, exactly. She does something that is super sweet but super annoying for a lot of people. And I just can't wait to see if Brett can get a handle on it and get her a little calmed down, because I think it actually causes her quite a lot of anxiety. Even though it seems sort of sweet, I think it makes her really anxious. So I'm hoping that we can get some help, because look at his face.
Look at that face. He is a master behavior specialist with over 20 years experience solving dog training problems that so many people, if you're a pet owner, you have them and you try to address them. He goes right to the core of the dog's issues, and he's here today. We've got a couple of family members with their canine conundrums. Please welcome Brett Endies. Welcome.
Hey guys, how are you? Thank you.
Brett,
Thank you for having me.
And we have our conundrums here, Dr. JJ.
And Orly.
When you say you go to the core, how do you describe your perspective on training a dog?
What I really do is teach owners how to understand and relate to their dogs on the dog's level. I find that there's an epidemic of problem behaviors in this world, as far as dogs are concerned, because they're being misunderstood. They're getting too caught up in the everyday life that's going on around them, and it's just really too complicated. And what we have to do is teach these dogs how to meditate, to make a calmer way of getting through their everyday lives they share with their human owners.
All right, we're going to help our human owners here. Dr. JJ, your dog Bill has a behavioral problem that you would like to fix.
Yes, my housekeeper calls him El Diablo, the devil dog.
Oh, no.
Because he marks his territory all over our house, even though he's been neutered and even though he has a doggy door and he's perfectly capable of peeing outside. He does it on our cork floor. He does it on favored pieces of furniture. And, he's a rescue, so we don't know what his history was beforehand, but we haven't been able to get a handle on this despite all the advice from our vet and some behavioral tricks that we tried. When we turn our back or we go away, we have a surprise when we get home. Okay, so we tried like the bitter apple spray. We tried doing that sort of aversive behaviors, like when he goes to lift his leg on something like a new Amazon package or something that's put on the floor, and then we try to redirect him outside. Or if he's outside and he pees in the right place, we reward him with praise and petting. But we just can't get a consistent approach, and now that we have construction going on in our house, his world is rocked too. Yep. So there's new people in and out every day, so it's even worse now. Unfortunately.
Oh boy. All right, so what training suggestions would you have for Dr.
So, I would take a three-part approach. First is I would really want to instill some awareness on the part of the owner. So really getting inside Bill's head, really seeing his perception of your relationship and really understanding what's driving him to act this way.
So how do we do that?
Yeah, exactly. How do you get inside of it?
It sounds good, but how do we do it?
That's what I teach people to do. Much easier said than done. Really implementing some training techniques in your everyday shared experiences. Just even when you're just hanging out in the living room, hanging out, with your dog, giving him a place to maintain, a place to think about, like a job, something to do. I would also just work on getting him into this very good potty training regimen. I would really want to start teaching him how to learn how to see outside as the only place to go, and even just disallow the opportunities inside by creating more of that structure environment. And the third thing is just give him a general life that has more exercise and training attached to it, because a lot of these dogs that are acting out, they just have this buildup of energy and they're trying to find the proper direction for it. So if you can give them more of that decompression, those outlets for the physical and mental exercise, you end up with a dog that tends to be a lot more of what we're looking at here, more at peace. And through the training, you could see that he gets to that place a lot more naturally than the way a lot of the techniques of training were more external that you were trying, a lot of trying to deal with the problem once it's already in motion versus deal with it at its root cause.
I mean, I just think we're also inconsistent, which is another problem, and then we have an inconsistent life right now, and we can't practically be next to him 24/7. He usually does it behind our back, and so that's really the issue, and we don't want to be negative in our training of him at all. But.
Right.
Orly, you feel the same. You don't want to be negative in your training with Callie. Your dog Callie is adorable, but you have an issue with her.
Yeah, and it's hard to be negative because kind of what she does can be perceived as so sweet. She just cries hysterically out of happiness. Like someone new comes in the house and she will just cry and get right up in their face. This is in the makeup room, and I'm sure we'll hear in a minute.
Okay, all right, relax.
She'll go from person to person, hysterically cry, get right up in their face.
How are we ever going to set her up with Fred?
I mean, she needs to get her act together if she wants a little Fred companionship.
All right, so what have you done?
And it's one of those things that I think with dog people, they don't mind it. And they say, oh my God, this is so funny, she's talking, this is so cute. But there's a lot of people who aren't dog people or kids, and it frightens them because she runs up to them to get affection and cries, and they're like, ah, and they get spooked by it.
Okay. Right.
So that's really the issue with her.
And really what it comes down to, she's just getting overstimulated in everyday life. That's what's driving all of these external behaviors we see as the actual problems, where really it's that root causality that's creating the issue.
Yeah.
And you actually worked with her earlier this morning.
Yes,
and
I did.
I'm really impressed.
She's an amazing dog. So we have Callie here. I just met her. She's a dog that's very smart and very sensitive. She's getting very anxious at everyday life. So I'm going to tell Callie how to sit. And through that, you see how I have her in that zone, that single pointed state of thinking, which literally organizes her sensory system, and it simulates how a dog would feel they're being put to work and they have a job, but it actually creates this calming effect through it. Good, very good. And then what I want to do is start rewarding her for the calm behavior, and then have her owner integrate this into her everyday life. Let's go. So I'm also, even when we're walking, dogs like Callie tend to pull on the leash. And the reason why dogs pull on the leash is they have what I call the mental rubber band syndrome. They literally see themselves halfway down the block before you even begin the walk. It's like a slingshot ready to go. So what we want to do is connect with our dog and walk them in this way where they feel our energy flowing together. And you see how I'm touching her in these different areas of her body. And this is what she knows another dog would be doing to steer her when they were moving together. And if you also notice, I'm not using treats. I've been doing this for 23 years and have never found a need for treats because it actually detaches us from the dogs versus connecting with them. So if we can really learn how to use energy, understanding, and apply these principles of meditation and single-pointed focus, you get an instant connection with the dog the way nature intended.
Okay.
Wow.
Let's bring. We want to bring Callie in, which
Awesome.
is here. And
Hi,
Fred.
Callie.
Okay.
Hi, sweetie.
So.
Hi, sweetie. Here, I'm going to take her.
Okay, Bill.
See, we might have some on-air conflict.
Okay.
And even here, what happened was Callie entering the room stimulated Bill. He starts thinking, what's this whole new event? What's all this energy?
And then it stimulates
and,
her.
And then even her, she's feeding off of it. So what I want to do is intervene and create this ability. This is actually very interesting. Let's do this. This is real-time stuff. So what they do is they feed off of each other's vibrations.
But this is what Orly's talking
This is the issue. It's the change. It's the transitional nature. Is the dogs get so caught up in this change around us, and it's in a world that we created. It's just too much for them to process.
So if JJ were to go away, let's say with this other one, is that? Do you feel like the other dog has sparked off energy with
Absolutely,
Callie?
yeah. And that's why JJ senses Callie is a little imbalanced. And what happens is it's like, well, I have to tend to it. So by me dealing with Callie and getting her to be more balanced, it makes JJ not be as concerned. I get this a lot of dogs, they react to each other because of our need to referee their interaction.
And Brett showed me something I didn't know. There's a place on their bodies that they carry tension, and so it was like right here, right? He showed me how to get this. She won't lay down, and he showed me how to do it. Will you show? Because I think it's so.
Absolutely.
I did it like actually on my own, and I was like, I did it.
What we're doing here is dogs, you see them like when they're interacting, they're mouthing each other a lot. They're doing this whole thing over the ears. And what we can do is we can put our energy into these different places on their body where they hold their tension, which is really their control points. And it organizes their chi, and it gets them to do more of like when you get a deep pressure massage, or we meditate, or we exercise. We get this single-pointed focus. It's like our inner energy just balances itself, and what's going on in the external is a lot more filtered.
Wow.
Okay, so besides, I almost just want to talk quietly.
Right?
So besides the pressure points that you're pressing on her to calm her down, what are some other tips for people at home who may have dogs that are overactive or overstimulated? What can they do if they're running into the same problems that Orly is.
A lot of these dogs, they just need a job. They really just need to know how to think when they're getting these internal questions kicking in. So, these dogs just constantly they're tracking life, anticipating the next thing, and giving them more of the structure, more of this. This is what you do at this time. This is how you think. This is how you feel. It puts us in that certain role in their life that just naturally taps into what the human-dog relationship is all
But
about.
there's a lot more information by visiting dogtrainingla.com. And by the way, wonderful information. There's a new web series that Brett has called The
good.
Dog Savant. It's coming to YouTube. Check that out as well. Thank you.
You were
so
Thanks, guys.
so
So much.
This is a completely different
Yeah,
dog.
like this, this would never happen in real life at home. This would never happen.